Pliers, pliers, and more pliers. We have the Crescent Lineman pliers. We're going to review them next. I'm Rick, and this shut the heck up, you stinking boosters. Nailed that for your sanity. This is the shack. Hey everybody, welcome. Hey, if you're new to the channel the first time stopping by, seriously, thank you so much for taking some of your valuable time out to view. Yes, we have a quick review. We're going to go over the Crescent Lineman pliers. There are some specifics on the Lineman pliers. I have some old ones here I'm going to go kind of compare against, and I'm going to give you a few insights of what to look for if you're looking for a pair of Lineman pliers. And they're versatile. You can use them for a lot of things. These are the Crescent Lineman pliers, the 9.5-inch Lineman pliers. So come on up here. I'm going to lay them down. We're going to compare them. I'm going to show you some of the uses and my overall thoughts. These are the new improved Crescent Lineman pliers. These are the 9.5-inch model number Z20509CG. Fresh out of the box, the one thing I noticed about all the updated Crescent pliers is this, I call it an oversized grip. Really, really nice. Comfortable, feels good. It feels like your hand is not going to slip off of this, kind of like an anti-slip grip. Really nice. And I just bring in these real quick. These are an older set of Lineman pliers. These are just basically a thin coat of rubber or plastic on the metal. Not much comfort there. It's just old school. That's the way it was. Now we got comfort grip, baby. Nice. Now some of the features of the head. These are kind of norm because I have two more Lineman pliers and they had the same design, but the Crescent claim to fame, what they're boasting about is what they call a pivot forward high leverage joint, meaning that this rivet here is actually closer to your cutting area, your joint area. Now if you look at pliers, some side cutters, this rivet will actually be almost back here. It's a lot further back and it's more or less in the center here, not this far forward. Okay, see that? That's where your pivot. This is where your rivet's at. Most of your pliers will have it back here, almost dead center. This puts more force on your cutting area right there. And if you look, they have these little arrows. That's your maximum cutting force right there. So you're not putting as much pressure here for cutting force there. It's pretty cool because I've tried these out on the side cutters, and one squeeze on an 8-penny nail, snap. I got another set that didn't have the rivet right here. It was further back, and it actually took me 4 times squeezing before I finally was able to break that nail. Crazy. So that is definitely a good thing to have. On my Lineman pliers that I have, I'll bring these in, this is what I'm comparing it to, the same thing on all these. This is a forward pivot. This is the rivet is right here on these other styles, and these are much older, so this isn't new. They're just incorporating this in more of their pliers. So if you look at this picture, you can see that these other two Lineman pliers are in the same design. That is what they call a pivot forward high leverage joint. So I'm just letting you know this isn't new. I have those on my other Lineman pliers, but what's new is they've done the same thing in the other pliers, the side cutters and the long nose pliers, which makes a major difference. So with that, let's get on to the multi-function head here. What I use my Lineman pliers for is, especially like down in Mexico, when we reroute some of the line, we're running Romex, and there's many uses for this plier when you're doing something like that. When we reroute wire for like a ceiling light, there's lines going through the rafters, so I'm having multiple wires at every single room because they're coming down and they're having to joint here, and then they run up over to the next room and they continue the process. So I have many times 3 to 5 wires, and I like these because when it comes time, I take this, and I can't do it with my hand here because I can't hold them, but I twist these till I get them all twisted up, nice and tight, and then I'll cut them all flush so everything's even, and then I'll, run it through again. So I'll have a nice tight twist, put my wire nut on, and I can go to the next room or do our next project or do whatever we have to do. But that's one of the uses I use these for, is to twist these wires. And you have this wide head, so I've been up to 4 and 5 wires sometimes, and I've been able to twist them all. So with that, sometimes you run a conduit. Well, it's multifunction head. And I've already done this, so I'll edit that part in, but this is a reaming head. So check this out real quick. If I can get this up here, piece of conduit, 3/4 or even up to 1 inch. These will just fit in enough, whoops. These will fit in just enough, and you can use them to deburr. Spin it around, you can deburr the inside of your conduit. Multifunction head, I like that. So now we go down further and we come into this area. This is your cutting area. Where the arrows are, that's your maximum cutting force right there. And what I use these again for, because I do a lot of the ceiling fan installation, lights and stuff of that nature many times, because I have extra screws and sometimes I'll need a shorter one or longer one, so I keep long ones. So if I have to cut them down, I just set that sucker in there, snap, boom, done. I'm not going to cut it now because I use these. I don't have one. This is actually my last, no, I got one more in there, so I only got 2 of these, so I don't want to waste them right now. But if you watch, I'll have links up there. Check in the description below. I have a link to reviews of the other side cutters, and I do a demonstration of the cutting so you can see the difference of the cutting force with this forward design versus the other ones. Like I said, they had the rivet almost in the middle down here. So I use them to cut screws, to cut nails, depending on what I'm doing, definitely cutting wire, things of that nature. Next thing, and I'll bring in my other 2 so you can see. There's a reason why you got this gap. That's for your fishing line. That is that thin, flat wire they use when they shove through the conduit so they can go at the other end, hook on wire, and pull it back through. It's your fishing line. These are actually McLean and Sons. You don't see that no more. Chicago, USA. They don't have that on here, and that's weird because McLean, whatever you call it, they usually have. They're pretty good about electrical stuff, so I'm surprised they didn't have that on those. So those are my older ones. These are probably a little bit newer. But what this is for right here, if you're running that through your conduit and you're running line, you hook your line in there, this grabs it, and you just pull the line through so you can pull your wire. Same thing on the Crescent tool. That's what this is made for. That little area is made to put that line in there. Clamp it, it locks in there. Now you can squeeze however you want to grab it, and if it's tight, gets in a spot, you can help pull. It gives you leverage to pull your line through when you're fishing the line through to run wire. Now the other things on here, neither one of these 2 has, so we'll put them aside. Not necessarily electrician only. I use these even in automotive. When I'm rewiring things on the car, or I got to use a butt connector. Yep. Right here you have like a little hump, a little nipple. And this here's a little concave. I'm like, what the heck's that for? That's for your butt connector. Or any connector you want to fit in there. You set that in there, and now you squeeze that, you crimp it, you just connected your wire. Multifaceted tool. So now I can use this for straight connectors, butt connectors. I can crimp it, boom, done. And also, right behind that, this is, I know they ain't going to pick that up, but you got little serrations right here. It's like a pair of pliers. What I use those for, sometimes I got a wire that's being stubborn, I can grab on that sucker, and now I got this crimping force holding it down, and I can yank that thing through and pull it if it's stuck or something. Or running Romex, same thing. You put a few wires through there, grab them bad boys, yank them. If you run a conduit and you have little you got a little bolt or nut, something there you need to tighten down, you can put in and tighten it. I wouldn't go over more than 1/4 20. It gets too big. You can't go like, you want to keep it down where you can get your hand gripped on it. Now, one thing I didn't mention is the fact that they all the pliers now have this eyelet, and of course, you're on the job, electricians and stuff, put a safety line on it so you don't drop it on somebody, especially if you're high up on scaffolding somewhere or on a scissor jacks, or if you're up on a tower. You don't want that thing falling down to the ground 100 miles an hour, take somebody out. So, you know, they got these little eyelets for safety lines. And that is your new and improved Crescent Lineman pliers. Told you it would be short, sweet, to the point. Basic features. They haven't reinvented the wheel, they just incorporated something in all the pliers, and that is a good selling point because that definitely does make a difference. Again, check in the video I did for the side cutters. The cutting pressure with that forward rivet makes a major difference. It does, believe me. So check them out, see if they may fit your needs, or maybe just go buy a pair because you never know when you can use them, because they are still a good pair of pliers. With that, thank you so much for watching. Build it for your sanity. I ain't got nothing else. That's it. See you next video.